All right, I'll call the meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This is an open meeting of the Seward, Nebraska governing body. The city of Seward abides by the Nebraska Open Meetings Act in conducting business. A copy of the Nebraska Open Meeting Act is displayed on the north wall of this meeting room facility as required. Disclosure of meeting recording processes is posted in the meeting room. A participant sign-in sheet is available for use by any citizen addressing the council. Presenters shall approach the podium, state their name and address for the clerk's record, and are asked to limit remarks to 5 minutes. All remarks shall be directed to the mayor, who shall determine by whom any appropriate response shall be made. The city of Seward reserves the right to adjust the order of items on this agenda if necessary and may elect to take action on any of the items listed. Please call the roll.
Beck.
Here.
Coulterman.
Here.
Streisand.
Here.
Camperth.
Here.
Singleton.
Here.
Hendricks.
Here.
Miller.
Here.
Wilkin.
First item this evening is the draft minutes of October 19, 2021. Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, please register your votes. Please display the votes.
Voting in favor are Wilkin, Beck, Camperth, Coulterman, Miller, Singleton, Streisand, Hendricks. 8-0.
Next item is the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, please register your votes. Please display the votes.
Voting in favor are Wilkin, Beck, Camperth, Coulterman, Miller, Singleton, Streisand, Hendricks. 8-0.
Next item is the confirmation of mayor appointments. We have the appointment of Megan Kaler to the Community Redevelopment Authority for a 5-year term.
Move to approve. Second.
Motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, please register your votes. Please display the votes.
Voting in favor are Wilkin, Beck, Camperth, Coulterman, Miller, Singleton, Streisand, Hendricks. 8-0.
Next item is an ordinance directing the conveyance of real property legally described as Outlot D, Seward Rail Campus PUD First Edition, corrected plat, City of Seward, Seward County, Nebraska, to SFD OPCO LLC. Greg.
Yeah, pursuant to our original MOU that we did with SFD OPCO, Project Superior, Schooler, Pet Source, whatever you want to name it at the time that we did that. One of the elements that we noted in there is once we finally platted the area that ended up ultimately being Worthman Boulevard, we knew there would be a sliver of land between the boulevard and them. We outlined in the MOU and the purchase agreement that we would sell that to them essentially for $1, that we would transfer that over to them. Has no additional value to us, it's not developable to us. So that's what this does. I can answer any questions you have.
Any questions or comments from the council?
I'll introduce the ordinance.
Okay. An ordinance to direct the conveyance of real property to SFD OPCO LLC to provide for publication of this ordinance in pamphlet form, to provide for a time when this ordinance shall take effect. The ordinance has been read by title. It is designated as ordinance number 2021-25, and the title is hereby approved. I need a motion to dispense with statutory rule.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, please register your votes. Please display the votes.
Voting in favor are Wilkin, Beck, Camperth, Coulterman, Miller, Singleton, Streisand, Hendricks. 8-0.
This is ordinance number 2021-25. Would anyone like to move that this ordinance be passed and adopted as read?
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Again, the question is, shall ordinance number 2021-25 be finally passed and adopted? Register your votes. Please display the votes.
Voting in favor are Wilkin, Beck, Camperth, Coulterman, Miller, Singleton, Streisand, Hendricks. 8-0.
This is the only ordinance for this evening. Would anyone like to move to make this ordinance a part of the permanent record?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please register your votes. Please display the votes.
Voting in favor are Wilkin, Beck, Camperth, Coulterman, Miller, Singleton, Streisand, Hendricks. 8-0.
All right, next item is a council request from Councilwoman Beck regarding the discussion of the Parks and Recreation funding for cattle indoor facility improvements and upgrades. Just kind of refresh us on your interest. Would you like to?
I am the council liaison along with Matt to this committee, and discussion of cattle indoor facility does come up, and I think for newer council members, and for all of us, we could use an idea of exactly what is that facility to us and far as we own it, who uses it, who pays for it, are there any upgrades needed, looking forward as we go into budget next year, is there something we should consider? And maybe just kind of throughout the discussion a little bit, I don't mean to keep us here, a long period of time doing this, but just a better understanding of what the committee does and is talking about, and, our Parks and Recs programs. I think we get the parks part of it, but a lot of times, I'm not sure we all understand the recreation program part of it. So, hopefully this gets us a little bit, more detail into that, so, I don't know who wants to start, but.
Well, let's go ahead and just start with the cattle facility, and Bob, if you wanna go ahead and just give a little bit of information and background on the cattle facility.
It was built in 2009 when it was finished. It was a lot of donations, a lot of people that donated time and stuff to the building. City didn't. It was very minimal city funded. Steve Ferguson headed up that when he was the Park and Rec director, and got that going. So it was done in March of 2009. Since then, the high school softball and baseball teams use it during their seasons, and during their off season they use it about 10 months out of the year that they're in there. We get about 23 teams from December to June 1st now that use it once a week. We only have maybe one rec team that's in there. The rest are select teams, whether softball or baseball. Their range, the way we do it is anything above 75% that are from the Seward school district or get their pick of their time slots first. Anybody that has kids from other towns or outside the school district fall in after that. So they might still have some Seward kids on there, but if they don't meet that 75%, then they do get a time slot, but they wait until the other ones are full. With that, it's a 72 by 72 building with 3 batting cages. It wasn't built with a storage facility, so everything's along the walls and that. So it gets a little crowded along the walls and stuff. We got some shelving. We upgraded the shelving to some stronger steel because of the balls that are flying around at times and stuff. And we put an exhaust fan in because of the humidity in the summertime that was causing anything that was metal to start to oxidize and stuff over the hot summer months. We've looked into putting a restroom in, and we've been looking at that. I looked at some with Tim from the wastewater about sewer lines and stuff coming over to the building. The sewer line's a little over 300 some feet to get there, and the water line's a little closer, but we're looking into that. With the COVID, everything's pushed back as far as construction companies for a smaller project like that, looking at adding a storage unit to put everything into a storage unit, get it out of there, and then have a restroom in that area as well. We use the porta potty from the soccer fields. We move it over and put it right up against the front door by the front door, so it is you can access it right out the door, take about 4 steps and use the porta potty if they need to. For right now, the turf is still in pretty good shape for being in there. Since '09, there isn't any signs of tears or coming up on the seams yet. I think we still get another 3 to 5 years out of that, which is good. We have replaced some of the cages that have gotten holes in them and different things like that. I don't know what else.
Can I ask for clarification? When you're talking about select teams, are you talking about high school teams, or is this
No, these are anywhere from 8 years old up to 18 years old.
Okay, so they use the facility as well as school teams?
Yes.
Okay. So the bathroom idea would be a freestanding structure or an addition, or?
It would be, the way we're looking at it is to add on to the west end of the building, and then inside that storage area, we would box off the corner and put a 5 by 8 ADA accessible bathroom in there with just a sink and a stool
Who would pay for that?
Well, it would probably be us, the city,
Okay.
if, budget it. I don't know, that's the thing, we have one team that, one rec team, and we do charge $400 for these other teams, except for the high school doesn't get charged to use it, and we pay for the utilities and the furnace filters
Is it
and,
$400 a year?
yes, for just that season. So for that 6-month period, it's $400, so it comes out to about 26 practices in that period.
Is there heat and air conditioning in there?
There's heat in there, it's not used in there's fans, big ceiling fans, so they can, if they do use it, if they did rent it in the summertime, they can open the doors, and the Legion teams have used it, so they can get air in there.
You put restroom in, then we're gonna be paying for heat in the winter.
You're gonna have to heat that to keep the water and stuff going.
That's pretty-
Because that storage was just we weren't gonna insulate that, because it's just gonna have L screens and stuff like that, that didn't really need to be insulated and stuff,
What would a timeline be for doing a bathroom facility addition?
I had it for the 22-23 budget, is looking at trying to get something like that. That's if I can get a contractor and stuff to come in and do that right now. Right now, they're looking at bigger projects right now, not wanting to do smaller. That's kind of why we've kind of pushed it another year, just because of that. It was not knowing it probably wouldn't be able to get it done in a time frame.
So do we have more teams than the facility can hold? I mean, I guess that's what's always been kind of a mystery to me is, do we have more, do we have a sufficient capacity for everybody to have practices? Or is there not? And not that this facility is the be-all, end-all, it's just, where do we stand on how many?
Yeah, right now, we're fine with those 22-23 teams, and it still leaves us time slots where if individuals wanna do batting or pitching, there's still individual times that they can rent the facility out for an hour and practice pitching, hitting, one-on-one type stuff. So right now, we still have time slots for that.
Okay, so, time slots for anyone from 8 on up that can be.
Right.
Okay.
Or just anybody, I mean, we get college students that come back, that are baseball players that come back and rent it in the mornings, knowing that evenings might be taken up, but they might come in and rent it for an hour in the morning.
Do the fees, are the fees sufficient to maintain the building?
Yeah, right now, I think we looked at, this morning, we took in about 5,000 last year, we spent 4,000. So we still had about 1,000 left
Kind
over.
of got a bathroom.
Yeah, but yeah, to cover what we're doing right now, we were able to replace a batting cage, that had, numerous holes, we just couldn't patch it anymore.
So the city paid for the batting cages?
Yep, came out of that expense.
This was something Andrea brought up during the meeting, is there like a snack facility with that?
No,
No?
no,
Where is that facility?
Westfield.
Westfield? Okay, all right, so that doesn't have, that's not
concession stand,
the concession stand. Okay, so that's not with this at all?
no,
And that's not on city property?
concession stands, yeah.
It is.
All three of
We
them
got,
are.
we got 3 of them, one at the Legion Field,
Okay.
East and West, and then the fourplex.
So basically the need for cattle then is the bathroom facility?
And a store, and then,
storage?
and then an add-on for storage, just to move everything out of that into a storage area, as far as L screens, balls, pitching machines that are lined up against the walls now.
And that would be part of the bathroom add-on?
That would include the bathroom being in that storage area,
So you would add on to the building.
and then put the bathroom in that storage.
And a total cost estimate?
That's right now is up in the air. Tim, from Building Zoning is looking, we're trying to get the company to come out that put up that building to see what it basically would be about a 15 by 72 addition on there. It wouldn't be as tall, it'd only be about 10 feet would run right now, but the cost of materials is so high right now, to guess would probably be close to 100,000 maybe.
Per bathroom?
Well, for that storage unit and everything, where you're dealing with the concrete, putting the concrete in and not even insulating it and stuff, but bathrooms probably, you're looking at about probably 30,000.
Pipe all the, extend the line.
Just the water and sewer lines, Tim said was about 10,000. That doesn't cover anything else, it's just pulling the line right now.
How does the softball association fit in with your department? Or is that separate, or do you
They're
guys
separate.
work together?
They run the concessions.
Okay. And then do the associations outside of the team fees, do the association have to pay a fee separately?
No.
It's just whatever teams are the people that pay for the facility. The association doesn't pay anything, they just run the tournaments and the concessions on their own, and that's their
Right,
funds.
when they run a tournament, they get charged for the field, but not, they run the concessions. The way it was set up was the Legion Field, the Baseball Association ran the baseball concession at the Legion Field. And then that money they made off that concession went back into field improvements. The East and West Field went to the baseball, or softball association. So whatever they made off the concessions, they would donate things to the improvements for the field. And then the fourplex was ran by both organizations, baseball and softball. And then that went back to the fourplex, is how that was set up, when Steve and Pat were here at Parks and Rec.
So does the softball team gonna use the batting cage too, is it only
Yeah.
set up for
It's
baseball?
set up for both softball and baseball.
On the Westfield concessions, is there anything in the budget for updating or upgrading bathrooms or anything like that?
We have, the only way to, the only way to upgrade those would be to add on, extend those, make the bathrooms bigger. Cause I know the girls has only got 2 stalls and the men's has a urinal and a stall. We'd have to move everything, out.
Are they ADA right now?
No, they're not.
Hmm.
My concern is like sometimes lights are left on, water is running, when I've been up there, just to update so that everything is like motion, just for safe, like, cost effectiveness, so that
Mhm.
water isn't running all the time or.
And once the season's over, we lock those up. We winterize everything. We leave those going because we got heat in those bathrooms. Cause that's our shop too, so if they're up there working, they can get in there, but to the public, they'll be closed until April. But we can look at motion, we can discuss maybe getting those, lights, that, motion sensor.
So on those, are we grandfathered that we don't have to meet ADA, or?
As soon as you touch them, you'll have to
Okay.
upgrade them.
And it's kind of the same way with the Legion Field, there's only one restroom, but that was, years ago, that was just a Legion Field, it wasn't made for, when the high school took on baseball, and then Concordia started coming up there, when everything got pushed to an earlier season, it was made for, summer ball, and that was it. And then, the fourplex was designed for, to hold more people and stuff in the bathrooms, it's a lot bigger.
Do we see future of updating our facilities so that they, like Sutton just put in a really nice one, York has their, like, to upgrade, anything like that, is that anywhere in the near future for
For,
Seward?
like, the bathrooms, or?
Just, like
I
the
think
concessions and I think the fields are good and everything like that.
Yeah, we're looking at, bleachers and, upgrading bleachers and stuff down the road, and maybe doing something different at the Legion Field, putting a concession stand and renovating, turning that into bathrooms where the concession stand is underneath there. Faces the wrong way, faces the back of the field, the concessions, if you were to Legion. You look at the hill instead of, you can't see the field. So looking at making some changes there, and eventually doing something probably up at the East and West, depending on how it goes over the next X amount of years.
The retaining wall needs to be fixed.
Yeah, we're adding on to that one end too, keep extending that.
Any idea on how much all of that might cost?
Not right off, it's expensive. I'm hoping that things are, by spring, are supposed to start coming down, cost of materials, I don't know if it will. The bleachers and stuff like that, when you get into that specialty stuff, it's costly, but, we're looking at some bleachers for Legions the other day, and they're, we're looking at 10 or 15,000 for one bleacher. Holds 140 people, but it's still expensive. And then we can move some of those from the Legion Field over to softball and expand their seating over there as well. Put a new sound system at the Legion Field. Concordia helped purchase that. Done some things to the field and things, but that they help us with and stuff. So we've made some field improvements, and we'll keep doing those as well.
And Concordia pays to use facilities.
They do. They pay a yearly fee.
About $3,000.
Yep, for both baseball and softball.
Okay. But if they build their own facility, then we lose that.
We lose that.
But we also lose the usage of the facility by those teams. The wear and tear on the facility is less.
Yeah, because then we can do more in the, they do their fall ball until about mid-October. So that allows us to be able to get some other things done and stuff until late October.
Bob, you have the Parks and Rec board, I assume some of you are members. How many people are on that?
Counting the president, I think there's nine board members.
And because I've never served on that committee or as a liaison, you guys meet monthly or?
We meet quarterly,
Quarterly.
4 times a year. And Randy's the president, and he's been president 4 years?
About 5.
5 years.
I took over.
Time flies when you're having fun.
I took over when Mel left.
Yes, Mel Bolte was the president for
100 years?
over 25 years, 30
Yeah.
years.
Mel was like 55 years on the board. It
Yeah,
was just
something.
amazing for today's
Yeah.
time frame.
Yeah.
So for this fiscal year, do you have the bathroom and the storage unit figured into your budget?
Not
on
for
that?
this one.
Not
We're looking
for
at
this, so
22,
we're looking at
23.
next year.
Yep.
In next year's, can we start to entertain the idea of maybe upgrading the bathrooms on the west field?
Yeah, I can get numbers and
concession?
then talk with the board, with the Park and Rec board, and get their opinions and approval and everything, and then start incorporating some of that. Everything in the concessions have either been bought by a baseball or softball associate, as far as coolers, ice machine in the fourplex. We winterize and get it started up in the spring and everything. Like I said, the softball, baseball run them, so we really don't do anything
You just make sure
with
that
the
it's-
rec. If they need something, hey, this isn't there, or we need this, we get it for them. We supply all the cleaning supplies, trash bags, that kind of stuff. If something would break, the cooler goes down or whatever, they get a hold of us. But they maintain it. We clean them in the spring, get them ready to go, and then they take them over and do what they need to, so.
Do any of the associations ever come to you guys' board meetings for input, like, hey, our softball pitching machine is broken, the baseball machine's broken,
No, they haven't.
tees, balls, all those kind of things?
No,
So
they
if,
usually have their own monies and stuff to fund their, as far as tees and stuff like that. We have pitching machines in there, in the
and if
facility.
those break down, then
We have to
whose
fix them.
responsibility, that
We
is
fix them.
your responsibility to fix them, and is that something that is kind of in the budget for replacement, or
That's kind of that fee, that $400 fee that
kind
they're
of covers
paying.
that kind of
Yeah,
stuff?
and it depends, sometimes it could get, those pitching machines, we have to take into Lincoln because they're electric,
Mhm.
and sometimes we can get the electric department, they can fix them, sometimes we gotta take them in, and they can be, costly.
Mhm.
But, yeah, I mean, the teams don't really have any skin in the game, you know what I mean? Something breaks, they're not out anything. We used to supply a lot of the balls, but we quit doing that just because they would just get destroyed, and then they'd want more, and they're about $60 a dozen. So now when they bring their own, there's more accountability there.
Is there like a deposit or anything that you guys have ever done before in the past, so like,
No.
You know, us as the city, we buy this brand new pitching machine and someone's team decides to go in there, how are you gonna know? It's probably the team
Right.
before them or the team before them,
Yeah,
and no one's gonna
there's
take
a lot of finger
accountability.
pointing here.
So how do you regulate that? Is there any, just an honor system?
Yeah,
big?
you would hope that they would say, hey, we were in here and this happened, you know. We really haven't had to go that route. I mean, we haven't had anybody vandalize it, you know, or
Right.
what, anything,
Not going
so.
to that magnitude, but
Right.
like if there was that kind of stuff that needed to be replaced because it was there when the facility started and, you know, people donated money to get that kind of equipment there, equipment after so many years starts to go out, is that something then that they just put in a request for you guys, or are you expecting like the associations or
Yeah,
whoever to,
we
like-
probably ask the school and baseball and softball if they wanted to, if they could, you know, help fund a new pitching machine or something like that. We could go, I mean, they've been willing, they've donated things in the past. Junior Jays have always given us, you know, asked what we needed in the, you know, in the spring, and donated L screens and different things of that sort. That's kind of where that, doing the concessions comes in. So if we do need something, we can go to the, you know, softball and baseball association and say, hey, we're looking at this. And they can say, hey, you know, they'll go to their board and talk about it and then see if they can, how much money they could give towards it.
So when you guys come up for your budget renewal, do you have a meeting with the associations to find out like what needs to be prepared for the next year or season to make sure
We
that
sit
it's
down at the
in
end of the
budget?
season with the softball association and with the junior Jays and stuff and see how the season went, what was good, what was bad, what the, you know, what we need to do going, you know, forward, and see, you know, what we can do, you know, what's gonna work, what doesn't, and go that route, so. We do have those meetings at the end of the season and the summer.
And so the new facility that was just on the west fields, the batting cages and all of that is city property per se, but
The
the
shed.
association
Softball association and
has the ability to use it or rent it when needed.
the softball is, yeah, the high school uses it, and the Concordia uses it because they ran our facility. So they store their stuff in the spring for softball, just like when we built the one up at the baseball field. Concordia and the high school use that, and then our Legion team. So, yeah, the high school and Concordia both use that, for their balls and everything like that. And then we use it too to put equipment and stuff in there too.
No, the private teams are going there too.
No,
It's just for the high school.
they can go in there and they'll go in there and get the chalker out if they gotta chalk their field, but as far as using equipment and stuff, it's either the high school or Concordia in there.
So with the concession stands, it's not required that the associations provide equipment like, you know, kitchen equipment or anything like that. That's something the city would do?
That's stuff that's already there that either baseball or softball associations purchased,
Okay,
and it stays there.
okay. But if it needs to be replaced, they would take on that responsibility, or the
They
city
would either bring it or call and say, hey, we need, you know, can we get this or that, you know.
But like if the cooler went out,
The cooler went out,
it
it
would
would
be
fall on
the
us.
it would be your
Right,
responsibility.
'cause the ice
not
machine,
the-
we own the ice machine, yeah,
Okay.
so we would call Lee's to come and fix it. Now the Pepsi cooler at the east and west field, the high school, has a deal with Pepsi, so that's their cooler. So the
No,
Pepsi guy comes
refrigerators
out,
probably.
the refrigerators was purchased by the softball association. Just the Pepsi cooler is the schools, and, so they get that fixed. At the fourplex, the coolers there were purchased by the baseball and softball associations, so we own those, along with the popcorn machine and stuff, so. If something would go out with those, that's where we'd have to pay for those repair costs.
But you don't have anything in the budget for long-term purchase of any equipment along those lines?
No, cause everything we got right now is up and running well, so we haven't had any issues to do, I mean, other than if we need cleaning supplies or stuff like that in there.
allow maybe either members of the committee who have attended tonight, if they had anything to add.
Would you guys like to say anything? You don't have to. You
Yes, I'd like to.
just come up to the podium,
Sure.
state your name and address for the court records.
Thank you.
Welcome.
I'm Randall Chapman, I'm the chairman of the Park and Rec Board, and, work with Bob a lot, and, one of the things that we've done with the board recently is to look at the fees and the ideas of replacing equipment and your questions. And we've done some surveys with other communities and things. Honestly, if we had another cattle bank facility, we'd still fill it. And we have practice times, but they're getting one practice a week. Some of those teams, you know, especially the older age kids, the junior high and stuff, would go several nights a week if they had it. We just don't have it. And, but one of the big complaints that I hear through the community is the restroom facilities down there and not having a bathroom for that facility. As the board, Adam and Bob have put together contacts with a lot of the other facilities around. And at our last board meeting, we went from $300 a year to $400 a year for the fee, because of the idea of, you know, those nets and things are going to start to fall apart, and so we kind of needed to bring that fee up. We went to 400, and that was still lower mid-range in some of the other towns around, so we were comparable. We also added a 25-hour fee to mark the fields. The city's never charged any for tournaments or teams during the league during the summer at all to mark the fields, but yeah, somebody had to go down and do it sometimes with the city, you know, people. So we've included a 25-hour fee so that help cover the expense a little bit. Bob has managed very well, and we haven't had a lot of big situations come up, but equipment and things are, you know, will wear out, and, you know, I really hope that the city would support, we made a recommendation to go to the city council, you know, for the bathrooms and stuff down there at the cattle bank facility, and we hope that, that's something that, the council would look at, because that's one of the biggest complaints is I hear is there's no bathroom facilities down there, and you have to go outside to the porta potty, and a lot of that use is from December, you know, through June. We also extended the time frame. The fee before was from December through May, but a lot of the teams wanted to get in through June too, so we've extended that for an extra month along with that $100 fee, so it actually, there's still not really that big an increase in what they were paying, so.
Thanks, Randy. Appreciate it.
Andrew?
They covered it.
Too good.
No.
You're good.
Again, my intention here is just to have a discussion, to give all you an update on what the thinking is, and, you know, Bob and his crew do a tremendous job, and the city just does a great job with all the Parks and Rec facilities, and I thank you. And I thank the committee members too for their diligence and paying attention to all the details and all of the different teams and all the things that come up. Everyone does a great job. It's just not something that gets on our radar very often, and I just hope that we could learn a little bit tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you for doing that.
Any other questions or comments on this item? If not, then we will move on. Again, thank you for being here this evening. Appreciate the insight. Next we have is City Administrator's report.
Don't have anything to add other than what was reported in there. So, I'll go with that.
Alright, thanks Greg. This will take a little bit longer, so I find the
I
upcoming
was
events
looking
list.
for it too,
but,
but yeah, sorry.
We'll need a motion, unless you have any questions or comments, we'll need a motion to accept his report.
Can I have you add one thing? The park bench that's on the end of the bike trail down by the water treatment, that piece of wood is cracked and broken. Can that be fixed? There's two blue ones that are in the horseshoe from some other location, they believe, but I
Yeah,
just noticed
that
that the
one
other
that's
day.
there was from the old band shell,
Yeah.
the old band shell benches.
I'll make a motion to accept your report.
Second.
Motion and a second, please register your votes, please display the votes.
Voting in favor are Wilken, Beck, Camper, Coulterman, Miller, Singleton, Strice, and Hendricks, 8-0.
Alright, thank you. Upcoming events. Wednesday, November 3rd, the SCCDP ambassadors have 2 ribbon cuttings for Lavender's Body Shop and the Alps Park. Monday, November 15th is the quarterly full SCCDP Board of Directors meeting in Utica. The SCCDP is facilitating Zoom meetings on the last Thursday of each month at 1 p.m. about COVID-19 updates with Four Corners Health Department and other community sectors, including medical, education, business, etc. This month will be Thursday, November 18 at 1 p.m. because of the Thanksgiving holiday the following week. Friday, November 19th, there will be a coffee and contact at Southeast Nebraska Casa starting at 7:30 a.m. The Saturday after Thanksgiving on November 27th is the 11th annual Seward Christmas Festival, where we look forward to kicking off the holiday season. The schedule of events will be coming out soon, including when Santa will be on the courthouse square. Please don't forget to shop small all season long and support our local businesses. If you're looking to support local SCCDP's Chamber Bucks program is active and ready to serve as customer and or employee appreciation gifts this holiday season, feel free to stop by SCCDP's office or call to put in your orders. To prepare for the Christmas time rush of Chamber Bucks orders, we're asking that larger orders are made no later than Friday, December 17th. I feel like I did not have the adequate enthusiasm that Jonathan normally has.
Okay, real quick, you said the ribbon cutting was what date, November what?
Tomorrow.
Oh, it's tomorrow.
November 3rd.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. No, any other questions or comments? If not, I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion and a second, please register your votes, please display the votes.
Voting in favor are Wilken, Beck, Camper, Coulterman, Miller, Singleton, Strice, and Hendricks, 8-0.
Thank you, everyone, have a good evening.